and welcome back to Healthy Living. I'm here with in-house dietitian at Payless Supermarkets, Rosae Calvo. She's going to give us some tips on nutrition for athletes and runners, especially those training for the upcoming Guam International Marathon. So Rosae, for runners or people who are really active, live an active lifestyle, what should they know about what to eat and what not to eat?
Well, first of all, it's always recommended to just have a balanced diet, getting a lot of fruits and vegetables in. For athletes, they do need some extra antioxidants compared to regular individuals, just because they're taking in more oxygen. So they're going to need extra boost of antioxidants to moderate those free radicals. So definitely a lot of fruits and vegetables in the diet. Also for endurance runners, they want to have more carbohydrates in their diet. Carbohydrates is a main fuel for our distance athletes.
Okay, so people always say this, especially like I was in a running club, and people say, oh, right before a race you want to carb up, so everyone's going to eat at Capricciosa or places with pasta. So is that something you should do before a run, load up on carbohydrates?
For every athlete, it's really unique. I would recommend that if you are interested in carb loading, you practice with it instead of just waiting for the actual competition. So if you're interested in carb loading, it can definitely help to boost those carbohydrate stores in your muscles. And it is recommended for endurance runners, but again, what a lot of people forget is that just like you need to train your body physically, the nutrition part is part of the training regimen. So you definitely need to practice and see what works for you, how much you should be taking in.
Okay, and again, we're talking about athletes, distance runners. So, this differs from a regular individual. If you're not really running those distances or you're not very active in the gyms, then this diet may not be for you. So as far as hydration, I know that's another really big thing with running. It's important to maintain your water intake. So can you tell us why hydration is important and what should runners look for?
Yeah, hydration is especially important here in Guam since it's hot and humid environment. So, if you lose 2% body weight, that impairs both your mental and physical performance. So really, to base your hydration, you want to be taking your weight after training, see if you lost any pounds. If you lost 2 to 3 pounds or about over 2% of your body weight, you want to rehydrate with 5 to 6 cups per 2 pounds that you've lost. So it's pretty significant. There's a lot of different types of drinks available. Usually water is mainly just for a quick hydration, more of your shorter races like 5Ks, 10Ks. But once you start going over an hour of working out with our endurance training, or even like high intermittent sports like soccer, games are over an hour, that's when you need to get some other types of nutrients replaced. So that's where sports drinks come into play.
Okay, so people also talk about, you mentioned sports drinks. People say that coconut water is really hydrating, has a lot of electrolytes or something. Is that true? Can that be a substitute for water?
Yes, so coconut water is higher in potassium of all the other electrolytes. If you compare it to your other sports drinks, those will tend to be higher in sodium. And sodium is the main thing you want to replace if you're in a hot environment, sweating profusely. So for coconut water, it can give you that extra boost of carbs that water wouldn't. But again, the sodium replacement would be a little bit more important for our marathon runners.
What about sugar? I heard that a lot of these sports drinks are really high in sugar. Is that a concern?
Right. So going back to what you were saying earlier about how what we're going to be talking about is more for athletes. With sports drinks, a lot of people look at it sometimes as health drinks or things that they can be sipping on during the day. But these drinks really are formulated for sports, for competition. So they are higher in sugar, carbohydrate. Sugar is a carbohydrate, and that's the main source of fuel for most types of exercise. So that's why they are higher in sugar. But again, it's to replace your stores and what's needed after you exercise. It's not something that you should be drinking as a routine beverage.
Okay, so what about what you should eat before a run versus what you should eat after a run? You know, sometimes people say, oh, just stay light before a run, you don't want to eat too much. What are your thoughts on this?
Exactly. For eating before any type of race or competition, you don't want anything that'll sit in your stomach long or make you feel full. So you definitely want to go for something that's easily digestible. Again, carbohydrates, mainly nothing high in fat or even fiber, because fiber will tend to sit in your stomach a little longer. So something easy to digest, like maybe a banana or even a slice of toast. Some people feel that actual food might be too much for them. So if you want to try a more liquid consistency, so whether it's like a juice or coconut water, just to get that carbohydrate, or even like a low-fat yogurt,
What about after?
After? Okay, so that's when you really want to replace. I would say in the next hour or so, you don't really want to eat anything that has fat, because that does interrupt your muscle building process. So after the race, definitely some carbs. I know fruits are usually provided after these races, so that's a great thing to eat right after the race.
Okay, so you mentioned fat. Is there anything major that people should stay away from besides fat?
Besides fat, well, before the race, again, going for things that are easy to digest. So if you think about, like, you know, one of the health advice to give is whole grains. They're high in fiber, but a lot of those high fiber foods or even nuts aren't good right before the race, because they will sit in your stomach a little longer, and you don't want that.
All right, well, thank you so much, Rosae. These are really great tips for all the runners out there. Don't forget to participate in our social media promo. You can do this by posting your pictures online and hashtagging GIM training. Here's this week's winner.